So today I'm going to respond to Weiler's breakdown of the dumbest money mistakes people make in their 20s, and I agree with a lot of his points. But as a bookkeeper and a tax strategist, I've got some different angles and tax hacks. So let's go quote by quote and I'll give you my take.
One day I calculated how much I was spending per week on just going out, and it was like insane. It was thousands of dollars a year. Even a few drinks a week adds up super fast. It really is insane how much people fall into this lifestyle, especially in your early 20s. The average American spends about $100 a month on alcohol. If you vape or smoke, that adds significantly more.
I completely agree with what I learned here. Let's say that you often buy a pack of beer for $7. If instead you invested in the stock market in the S&P 500, which returns 10% annually, that same $7 in 20 years could be worth $50. Or if you invest in Bitcoin instead, Michael Saylor does suggest that Bitcoin is going to grow at about 20% in the next 20 years, and it's going to average out to about 29% growth. And that is the opportunity cost that he's talking about. Every $7 that you spend now is like burning 3 $100 bills in 20 years.
Next item, and this is one that's just a complete ripoff. This is food delivery. It's a convenience that doubles the cost. Like, I know people who are spending just way too much on this stuff. It enables you to be lazy, to sit around and not go outside. When I stay with family out in Florida, I ordered a burrito from Chipotle off of DoorDash. After the fees, the delivery, the tips, it was like $20 to $25 when I could have just gone to the store and gotten it for $10 or $11.
Yes, he's exactly correct here. But let me take this one step further. Instead of thinking about how to consume, start thinking about how to sell that same product. This is the entrepreneurial mindset shift that he talks about. Don't just buy that Rolex. Pick up your phone and make 1,000 calls until you can sell your own Rolex. Don't order that delivery. Become the delivery driver and get your own tips. Don't buy that shirt. Spend $40 on Shopify and open your own store, open your own business. That's how you start thinking like a business owner instead of a consumer. And when you track your books right, suddenly you're building assets instead of piling up receipts.
Next, we're going to get into tier 2, and these are mistakes people know about, but they underestimate just how devastating they are. I always talk about the gap. Now, not the gap for buying clothes, but the gap between income and expenses, and you need to maximize this in your 20s.
I cannot agree more, but here's a fun twist. Even saving just 5% more of your income can make a huge difference. But why is that? Well, it's because your financial independence number is 25 multiplied by your annual expenses. So if you can increase your savings a little bit, you're not only saving more money, you're lowering your expenses a little bit too. And by doing that, you shave decades off your retirement date. As an experienced bookkeeper, I recommend saving and investing 40 to 50% of your income. There's some science behind this. I'll make a future video on this.
When people say renting is like throwing money away, I kind of did the calculation on this. I was in my 20s and I was considering buying a condo, whether I should do that or rent. And there were times when I ran the numbers, and after taxes, HOA fees, insurance, maintenance, I usually came out ahead if I just invested the spare money I had into the stock market instead of buying property. There's still plenty of money being, quote, thrown away when you're buying a place, right? And thus far, the stock market's been fine. My decision has been right so far.
Okay, if you asked me a year ago, I would have a different answer. I would completely align with them. Stocks are great, but here's where tax planning completely flips the math. Too many people look at returns before their taxes, which makes no sense because taxes are your single biggest expense. So let me give you an example. If you have $100,000 into the stock market and it grows at 10%, that gives you $10,000 every year. And after a 20% capital gains tax, you walk away with $8,000. Here's another example. If you put $100,000 into real estate and it gives you $7,000 in cash flow, yes, that's a lower return. That's only 7% instead of 10%. That's true. But because you're investing into real estate and providing housing, the government gives you a depreciation deduction. And let's say it's a $27,000 deduction. Okay, so that $7,000 in rental income is now tax-free. And for the rest of that $20,000 deduction, let's say that you reduce your income and get $6,000 in tax savings. That's a total of $13,000 after taxes. It's a lot better than $8,000 from the stock market. So on paper, stocks look better, but after taxes, real estate actually does beat stocks.
Another career and wealth failure that people have in America is failing to negotiate your salary.
Oh man, I love this point. So here's a personal story. I used to work at a construction company in Florida, and I automated a system to basically verify subcontractor rates per builder and per lot. And it ended up saving the company about $10,000 per year. And I did this in 2 weeks. So I just went to my boss and I showed the numbers and I proved my value and I just negotiated a raise. And that's the power of tracking your receipts and documenting your results. Always negotiate and always be looking for the next opportunity.
Another big mistake people make, even if they start their investing journey, is not using the tax benefits that are available to us. Another one would be ignoring taxes entirely. Like, I'm sure not many people do this, but you're going to be facing penalties and legal risks by just ignoring taxes. Like, I know a few people who do this. Just please don't do that.
Oh, tell me about it. The audacity of people leaving tax planning out of their wealth strategy. Oh my gosh. And for business owners, here's a tax hack. Put your kids on payroll. Pay them a reasonable wage for the real work in your business, whether it's bookkeeping or filing or marketing or even modeling by putting them in a YouTube video. You get a deduction at your high tax bracket, and they pay $0 thanks to the standard deduction. And now that they have earned income, you can open up a Roth IRA for them. Max that out at $7,000, and that's generational wealth. In 50 years, that $7,000 will have grown to $1 million in tax-free money. That is generational wealth. Imagine your 2-year-old with a Roth IRA growing to $1 million tax-free over their lifetime. So here's the bottom line. I agree with Weiler. Stop wasting your money on beer and food delivery and Rolexes and clothes. But don't stop there. Keep thinking like an entrepreneur. Track every single dollar and plan around taxes. Because wealth isn't just about what you earn, it's about what you keep.